Today we'll be talking about the Forbidden City, built by Emperor Yongle of the Ming Dynasty. With many scholar bureaucrats in Nanjing refusing to recognize the legitimacy of his claim to the throne, the Yongle Emperor began a thorough purge of them and their families, including women and children.
Chinese law had long allowed for the execution of families for disobedience. The Hongwu Emperor had fully restored this practice in the 14th century, punishing rebels and traitors with death by 1,000 cuts, as well as the death of their parents, grandparents, uncles and aunts, nephews and nieces, siblings by birth or by bond, children, grandchildren, and all co-inhabitants of their family.
In his infinite compassion, however, children were sometimes allowed to be spared, and women were sometimes permitted to choose slavery instead of death.
Four of the most famous purge scholars became known as the Four Martyrs, the most famous of whom was Feng Xiaoru, the former tutor to the Jianwen Emperor. When he was threatened with execution of all 9 degrees of his kinship, he fatuously replied, "Never mind 9, go with 10," and, alone in Chinese history, he was sentenced to the execution of 10 degrees of kinship. In addition to his own entire family's execution, all of his students and peers were executed as the 10th group. Altogether, 873 people are said to have been executed.
Anyways, the Forbidden City itself is found in the heart of Beijing. What's cool is that it took over 1 million workers and 20 years to complete. That's a lot of years. The project was completed in 1420. Builders used the Yingzhou Fashi, an 11th century manual with different designs for different ranks in Chinese social structure. For example, the palaces and homes of the emperor are much bigger than the empresses.
The Chinese emperors ruled China in this city for over 500 years. That's a lot more than 20. It was turned into a museum in the early 1900s when the Qing collapsed. I guess the new guys didn't like it. 24 different rulers have lived in the city over its lifespan. The outer court was filled with spectacular compounds where officials ran the country and only men could enter. The imperial family lived in the inner court. What's interesting is that the Forbidden City was created as a result of a scandalous coup, plotted by Zhu Di, the 4th son of the Ming Dynasty's emperor, that made him the Chengzu Emperor in 1402. The city itself contains over 200 separate art pieces of the emperor, Yongzheng, a very humble guy, dressed in different ceremonial costumes. The images show him fighting demons, a superhero of his time. The imperial palace consists of bright red and gold colors with large pillars supporting the roof. The palace towers over other buildings, showing the power of the emperor.
The city is still changing, with maintenance and reconstruction changing the look of minor palace buildings, turning hallways into galleries for artwork of the imperial collections, like these 2 dancing Buddhist-type fellows from the Palace Museum. The Forbidden City is still extremely popular today and is the most visited museum in China. Guess it's not so forbidden anymore.